Yeah, cool. That's one of the things I tell my students is, the doctor label really should only apply to like the two or three things I study. Otherwise, I'm just someone with opinions. And so you got to be real careful about how broadly you think that is in terms of expertise. So, I let people call me sort of, anything sort of, respectful that sort of feels natural in that space. But one of the things I do tell them a lot is like, just the doctor label shouldn't be used expansively um, outside of areas of expertise. But yeah, I'm coming to you from a cold day for Houston down here. And my main role is a professor of organizational psychology. But in addition to the research and teaching that I do, I also do some speaking, some executive coaching and consulting work with organizations, and really trying to move them in ways that make them healthier broadly construed, but especially around worker autonomy and worker well-being and career progression that fits their overall lives. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that we do in organizational psychology is to understand like the workers within the system. And I spent like a whole semester one time having all my lab try to figure out how to explain the field to other people, the elevator pitch thing, because
Mhm.
it gets pretty complicated. The field comes from an industrial basis in manufacturing and an organizational response to humans in the workplace, sort of in the 60s, in terms of thinking about the name, and we won't change it to work psychology like they do in Europe because people are wedded to the name. But what we came up with is the thing that we do best is measure people on things relevant to the workplace. And so what I tell people is if you want a customized solution to your people challenges, you have to be able to measure them.
Uh-huh.
And that includes their knowledge, skills, abilities, desires, needs, moods, career trajectory, hopes, engagement, all these things. And so without that measurement, all you're doing is saying something worked for Google, and benchmarking off that. But you don't have a sense of whether the solution would actually fit your goals for performance and well-being within your organization for the people that you have. And so that measurement piece is really the crux of if you want to change something about your company, it makes sense to actually see the impact of that change on the people or to find out if they even want it.
Mm.
A lot of times the people in charge design companies that they would want, but often the rest of the people in the company aren't the same as them in terms of values, needs, personality. And so you end up creating these misfits unintentionally without measurement.